So, according to our lectures and our notes, race is a type of social classification based on physical criteria such as skin color, eye shape, hair texture, and ancestry or lineage. Ethnicity is cultural identity based on nationality, customs, traditions, language, and/or region. Furthermore, race categories are cultural inventions and unscientific, usually based on inconsistent measures. Race categories can change from one country to the next and have changed throughout US history.
What many people aren't aware of is that race is a recent historical invention which is not a product of scientific discovery. Race categories are cultural inventions, are unscientific, and based on inconsistent measures. Race categories can change from one country to the next and have changed throughout history.
For this assignment, we've asked our peers to tell us a little bit about race and ethnicity as they understand it.
So my definition of race, I think it stands more not from the place that you come from, but more from what you identified as. More specifically, you can be, there's a lot of people in America who have lived here all of their lives, but they identify more with the race that their parents are. And I think that it's very important to differentiate that that is the race that they identified as, and that is the race that they should be feel comfortable being. Of course, there are certain exceptions to it, and I do not wish to go into detail, but that is my basic definition. Well, there's a big difference between ethnicity and race, I believe. Ethnicity is definitely the place that you are born from and what that is. The saying that race does not exist would be a big it would be a big understatement. First of all, it's very misinformed, and you can have that as your opinion. It means that most people, I think, would disagree with you in the fact that race is, people categorize a lot about race. We are constantly, people who are not from the same race as you or the race that is most privileged are constantly going to be suffering from discrimination and mistreatment by other people that are in a higher race. And I think it's very important to acknowledge the fact that race is in fact a thing. And if you think that race is not exactly a thing and that it was created as a way to just categorize people, you probably belong in the higher race that has never really suffered the struggles of a race that is not yours. And I would just say get a little bit more information, talk to other people. It's a very bigoted opinion.
Race is the combination of your upbringing, where you live, and of course it's inherently tied to your parents and where they come from. But like, for example, me, I'm just a mix of a lot of things, but the thing that I think of first when I think of race is the Czech Republic, just because that's the only thing I've had any impact on me culturally and practice-wise, because my grandma talked about the food and the language and she spoke it, and none of my other family members really spoke on that. So race is what it means to each individual person, but it comes from how your parents, environment, community puts their beliefs on you. Yeah, race is fluid and changing. It can mean what it is to its own people. It's been manipulated and rewritten in history, and it doesn't really change my current understanding of what race is, because race is just how the media and society has influenced me and how my family and friends and community has influenced me, and yeah, it's all just a construct.
Hello, my name is Chris. Okay, so the way that I would define ethnicity is basically your cultural background. For example, my mom is Filipino and my dad is German and Irish. And so to someone in the United States, I would define myself as being of those three things. But if I were to travel across to another country, well, I was born in America and I was raised according to American values, and I would identify as being American. Now, race, I see that as being more of a socially created concept. Basically, it was a way for us to like create tribalistic divisions. So like you could tell that someone is a different race based on their skin color generally, but that doesn't really have much to do with their biology being different than yours per se. And so, for example, like when I was in elementary school, throughout middle school, oftentimes kids would consider me as either being Asian or white. And it took me a long time to actually like figure out my own racial identity, and I still don't really have one, to be honest. And so I would basically identify as whatever people labeled me as at the time. And some people even have called me Hispanic. And so, of course, I would generally say I'm either white or Asian just to make it easier for people. So yeah.